Okay, so Pat, what do you think? Why don't we open up a couple folks here and see how everybody's doing? And again, guys, it's a Q&A call. So if you got a question, either raise your hand or chuck your question in the box, and we will read it out as per always. And I think initially we got John has got his hand up. So again, guys, just raise your hand or chuck a question in the box. But coming to you, John Wolf. You're self-muted, my friend. There he is. You're live, John.
Hey, guys. How we doing?
Doing fabulous. What's happening in John's world?
Not much. Just got trained in the PAS, so excited to use it. And I have a potential client that would like more information on it before he meets. And I found the video, the 12-minute video, but for some reason, I can't figure out how to download it.
Which video is it?
12-minute video? The promo video?
Yeah, I can find the video, but I can't download it.
Okay, what do you want to download? So what are we trying to do with the video? Show it to a business owner to get them jacked up?
Yeah, I wanted to download it and email it to a business owner.
Okay, don't send them a link. Just copy your link. Like it'll be yourmembershipsite.com/promo, right? Something like that.
Oh, so get it off the e-learning?
Yeah, just copy the URL and then just say, hey, buddy, guy's name's Bill. Hey, Bill, how's it going? Just the video that I mentioned, make sure you watch this. It's going to expand your understanding of business marketing and about 12 months from where you're currently at. Check it out. Speak to you Tuesday.
Great.
And then just plunk the link in. Yeah, so no need to download it. You send them the link. The answer.
I was finding the link inside the PAS. Are you saying that there's a public link in the?
There's a public link. Yeah, if you just go to your membership site, say it's XYZ Business Academy. If you go to xyzbusinessacademy.com/promo, or it might be prep. There's two videos. There's two for different. Anyways, there's two videos. Just copy that URL and chuck it in an email and say, here's the video. Yeah.
You got it. Great. And any other good things to send out with that? I know you have some information in the resources in the PAS. You've got some.
Yeah, there's lots of. Look, here's the question. Little red arrow. You are here. Like, what's the relationship with this individual? Where did you meet him? How well do you know him? Like, what's the dynamics there?
Yeah, I know him as a business person. He does work for me. He's a little bit skeptical about coaching in general. So. Just wants how can I get more information and make sure I want to do this. And I also have a big restaurant background. And I think he's a little bit hesitant, thinking that I'm really restaurant centric and not a business coach for his business.
Yep. The restaurant, where does that factor in? That's your background, or that's a restaurant itself?
Yeah, no, I own 4 restaurants, and I've done a lot of coaching in the restaurant field, and that he really just knows of me from the restaurant business.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, and again, so you were answering why, like, his objections, so take them away from him. That's one of the first things when I speak to him, I'd be saying that, like, I know you as, you know me as the restaurant guy, but let me just tell you, I was successful in the restaurant game because I understood business. Restaurants, 90% of restaurants fall over because they just follow the leader. I owned 4 restaurants and was highly successful because I didn't follow the leader. I followed business fundamentals more than I followed, the restaurant textbook. You know what I mean? Like, kind of take that objection away from them immediately. I would totally do that. And the other one where you said, look, and I know you're probably, when I was owning my restaurants, I was totally skeptical of coaching and whether or not that was a good idea. I'm guessing you'd feel exactly the same. Look, Michael Jordan had a coach. Tiger Woods had 8 coaches at, his time of dominance. You'd be, if you're either going to get me to help you or somebody else, but do not spend another 5 seconds in this company without somebody kicking you in the butt and holding you accountable, because the cost of inaction and the cost of not having a coach is, we don't need a calculator. We need a computer to work out the number because it's so big in terms of what it's costing you.
Okay, that's good stuff. That's great. Excellent.
Yeah. So take it away from them. And then as far as the email, like I said, I would just go to your relationship with them. I wouldn't, the email, your goal at this stage is to make them curious. Okay. And then when you get there, your job is to make them certain. So you want to make them curious as to where's he going to find me $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising? That's why the pitch is the way the pitch is. And any Warren Buffett would be curious as to how the hell we go about doing that. And then once you get face to face with them or over the phone doing a screen share, your job is to make them certain that if you're going to charge him, say, $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year, that he is going to return $48,000 plus as a result of exchanging that money with you. That's your job of the meeting, to make them certain. Can't miss.
Cool. Okay. That's good. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
So email short and sharp, and your goal is to make them curious.
Okay.
Just keep that in mind always. Cool. Does that help?
That helped a lot. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Okay, buddy. Good stuff. What kind of restaurants did you own, by the way?
They're all different. One is a little more fine dining. We have a tavern. We have a couple of kind of bar taverns. One that's very Southern California cuisine. They're all 5,000 square feet or bigger, full service restaurants. Yeah.
Oh, wow. There you go. High five. I love it. Well done. Whereabouts are you? Where are these restaurants?
We're just north of Boston in a little town called Newport, which about.
Well, you're not a Boston Bruin fan, are you?
No way. And I don't like the Patriots or the Red Sox either.
Good job. Who you hockey? Are you a hockey guy at all? Who's your team if you do have one?
No, I'm not a hockey. We're big into football. We watch a lot of the Patriots. We're in a Sunday group that yells and screams and gets all excited. So.
Yeah. So you do that, but you're not a fan? You're not a Patriot fan?
No, I am. I love all our teams. I was just being stupid, but
yeah.
No, we love all the teams. They're all great.
There you go. Good stuff. All right, go Miami. Go the Dolphins. That's my team. There you go. All right, buddy. Cool. Okay, John, great having you on board, man, and good stuff on the restaurants, and I hope that helps.
Thanks very much. We're very helpful. Good talking.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, I'm going to put you back on mute. My boy Eric Merz, standing 6'4", incredibly handsome. Come on, Eric. Comes to all our live events, by the way, folks. If you're not coming to Cancun, you're missing out. Eric will be there. I'll be there. Kenya Pat will be there. Be there, be square. Eric, we're trying to open you up, buddy. You're self-muted.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there he is. Hey, there we go. Eric, you're live. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. I want to get more in depth in the implementation process and the meeting notes portion. I wonder if you guys could kind of walk me through. I've seen it now and then, but I think I'm missing something. So I want to see all the aspects, and like when I saw something the other day on Carl's screen where you can send an action step and they can set it in their calendar. And is that live?
So can you see my screen, Eric?
Yeah, we can see it, buddy.
All right. So let me just go into implementation here. And I do want to say at the start here that William is going to be back on this project shortly. Shortly could be a matter of days or weeks, but shortly is relative. So this is now in the implementation calendar. Let me back up to say, when you go into priorities, this is important. The software orders your priorities for you. Okay, so you're going to put in the weeks that you think it'll take to implement something. You go through and you put 4, 5, 6, 8 weeks, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you save it, and then you prioritize it. Now I can click that. But what I've done here as well is I've looked at this and I think, you know what, I want to work on cutting costs before that. So I'm just going to drag this and move it up. And now I would save that. But once I save that, I do not want to click prioritize again, because if I do that, it says, are you sure you want to change your custom priority order? So I've customized my own order, and I don't want to do that, or else it'll revert me back to what the software wants. So you can change it there. So now when you go into implementation calendar, you'll see that cut cost has been moved up. So now as we look at the implementation links, we got two basic links here. One is you can click on market dominating position. This is the old style. These are the answers at the back of the book here. Or we can click on the little icon, the notepad icon next to it. This opens up a type of coaching dashboard. Now, this is something that we're currently working on right now. Let me just X out a couple of these. So what happens is, again, here's your answers at the back of the book. You can still open these up, still the same. Once you're finished something, you can click the checkbox, like, hey, now we've done it. So now you come back later, you know what you have to work on next. Mm-hmm. You can also take notes inside here by clicking on the little icon. And today is May 20th, so I'll just add those notes there. We save that comment. And now you can also see all these notes here. You can see that note D from point D was brainstorm your NDP, and those are the notes there. We're going to work on something we want to try and do is go back to find a way to get all these notes to update all into the same place, because they don't do that right now. At the top here, we have the client, in case you forget who you're working with, which could be possible if you're back-to-back. Today's date, when you're working, what we're working on today. Okay, so again, going back to Carl's mandate on this, it was, I'm coaching a client right up to the top of the hour. I got to go and take a leak. I got to run back in. So I got to know right away who I'm coaching, what date it is, where my head is at, how, everything about this, and actually what they worked on last week. So things they still need to complete, biggest wins of the past week. You can take notes. Biggest challenges of the past week, their revenue, things like that. So now when you put a note in here, another thing we've just added, so you can keep adding notes and add another, and it timestamps everything. So I'm not sure if there's glitches in this. Let's just see what happens if I add another note, May 20th. And let's see, I save that. And it should add a timestamp here. But anyway, William's going to come back to this shortly, and it might be that after you come back later and you refresh the page. We'll just do that quick and see what happens. So a little bit of a work in progress, but let me scroll down there. There it is now there, May 20th. So
okay.
On the side here, we've got actions the client must complete before the next session. Okay, so here's the glitch. I'm looking at this now. This was good, but these notes updated to May 20th. So William's going to come back on this and fix these things. As a coach, how can I help you? And one thing we want to have William do is be able to email these directly to the client. So the client knows, hey, this is what I need to work on. So that's go ahead.
You think, is you going to email them to the email that's already built into their account?
Correct.
Okay.
And I think what's going to happen is it'll open up a little dashboard. It's just not going to disappear on you. I think the idea is it opens up into a screen with the person's email right in there and your notes in there, and you have the chance to edit it, and then you can send it.
Kind of like the meeting notes that you can send already.
Yeah. So now there's another part to this implementation calendar. We go back to the calendar, and you see here on the side we've got settings. So this is, again, this is something that we're going to try and work on a little bit or a lot, because let's say, for example, the meeting sequence is once every 2 weeks. We got twice a week, once a week. If it's twice a week, we're going to have meeting 1 and meeting 2. Once a month, it's just one meeting that you're going to when's the meeting, what the date, time, where is it going to be. You can send meeting reminders. And is it going to be online, in person, or phone calls? So I think here that the address there, the phone number. What some people gave us some feedback and said, hey, what if I only want to meet 3 weeks of the month, the first 3 weeks of the month, and take a week off, which I think is a great idea. How do you calendarize that? And it's like, we can't right now. So this is something we're going to have him come back and work on for sure. So imperfect system, but it's a work in progress, and certainly better than what we had 6 months ago. So that's kind of the overview. Do you have any questions on that?
Well, on that calendar you were just looking at, so you can send, let's say I'm going to save it, it will send them the reminders to that email address.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Now, on the right, Eric, can I just say, on the right-hand side there, you see the boxes that says 3 days, 1 day, 1 hour before. So he just ticks. There you go.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, and if you think like the day before and the hour before is enough, you just untick the box 3 days before, and then there you go.
Yeah,
so,
it's just kind of like Google's mail system.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. Yep.
Yeah,
It's exactly like Google, Eric. That's what Google's saying. It's just they're talking about us and we're talking about them. We're all the same.
This is good, and that's going to be great, because I use the meeting notes and send them out quite often, but it would be nicer if we had the action steps like built from what we were working on, if we're working on a particular strategy. So I don't know how I don't know how you move those.
Not to click these. Don't click these boxes today, even as a test. And the reason is I'm still getting emails from this lady, Susie, who is set up as the coach in here or the owner in this test thing. And I've unclicked the boxes and I still get emails. And I heard from another coach this week that they're still getting emails and they don't know how to turn them off. So that's another little glitch that, we're just, we brought it to William's attention a couple days ago, but he's in the middle of a big project, which will go into probably middle of next week. So he won't be able to tackle that. So
don't
it's getting there, Eric. Definitely getting there.
You're saying don't use it right now.
I'm just saying,
your client, if you lose your client within the next 2 weeks, they're just you're going to continue to get emails. That's all. It's no big, so just the shut, you lose your client, you're going to want to turn that reminder off. The reminder is going to continue to come at you. That's all.
At them, if they were on it.
At them, yeah, and at them. There you go. But don't worry, William. That's on the hit list, and William will be fixing that ASAP. But we got this bigger monster project that is about to come to completion, and everybody's going to find out about that soon. But anyway, so that's just where William is right now. So that's the little FYI. If you don't lose your client in the next very short period of time, we're all good. That's right. Right.
So to be clear, though, if I save this without those unchecked, it's still going to send them an invite to those times. Is that wrong?
No, it won't. No, there's no invites going out if it's unchecked.
Okay.
I think what happens is if you check it, and then I uncheck it, it doesn't recognize that I'm unchecking it. That's the problem.
Okay. So nothing goes out unless you check it.
Correct.
So yeah, okay. Thanks.
Cool. Is that all good, Eric? Does that help?
Yeah, this is right. This was the thing I saw the other day on your screen that I said I need to get this down. So
yeah.
Yeah,
it's the functionality is I gotta tell you, and then again, there's some improvements coming to it, but when you on the icon, if you look at market dominating position and that icon beside it, it's great just to keep you on the same page. You got the answers of the book following you around, and in your case, Eric, you got a team of coaches, right, following them around so that everybody's getting some sort of consistency. So but well and truly continuing to be improved and will continue to be improved over the next 12 months. Big done. So there we go. But that's what we got, buddy.
Thank you.
You bet. All right, Big Eric. We're going to put him back on mute. Nabil has a question. Nabil, where you are self-muted, Nabil. Hopefully Nabil is in sunny Australia. We'll see how he's doing. Nabil, you are live.
Good morning, guys.
Hey there.
What's happening in sunny Australia today?
Oh, we're into winter now. You guys are in your summer. We're 180 degrees flip, mate.
Yeah, winter in
That's
Australia is quite the same as other parts of the world, but yeah, we get it.
Oh,
We get
God, no.
cooler.
I'm freezing my butt off, and it's like 10, 12 degrees centigrade, which would be what? Not very cold for you guys.
I think that's 70. I don't know. I'm going to guess at 70 Celsius. Do you know what that is, Pat? What's 10? What's 15? What's that in Fahrenheit? Any ideas?
32.
Yeah.
It's around 50, 60 degrees.
Yeah.
Fahrenheit. Yeah. So it's pretty mild here, but it's all good, mate. We've actually had a much lighter run with this COVID thing, so but everything, all the borders are shut down. We're not going to be able to make it to Cancun, but there's been play at actually doing a satellite for the conference. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you going to make it to that?
Yeah, absolutely. But not physically at Cancun though, because our borders are 100% shut.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's all right. Well, we'll get you the next year. But what about, you got a question for us on the software? What's the, what you got for us?
I do. It's actually a scenario that I'd like to just discuss with you and finesse it. I have a client that I worked with like 10, 12 years ago, and I bumped into the owner, and his business has grown quite dramatically. And he needs some help in the business. I've got an opportunity to do a planning session with them for 4 hours come next Friday. So that's Friday the 28th. And I just normally do my own planning about, doing it fairly lightly. But I thought the PAS would be a perfect tool to use during that session. And I was just trying to have some ideas on how I could structure a session of 4 hours with probably 4 individuals, 4 managers and their accountant, and be able to do that in a very successful way. I'm pretty familiar with PAS, but I haven't done a PAS session in a few months. And I wanted to just discuss the event, but also anything I can do before then to prepare for that planning meeting.
What kind of business is it?
It's a manufacturing business.
What do they manufacture?
They manufacture garden stuff for gardening. And during COVID, the crazy thing is they've grown like 40% last year during the lockdown.
Businesses like that around the home are all going nuts. That's not going to stop. But that's good stuff. Good stuff. Okay.
Yeah, they're expecting much higher growth, and so I think it's fairly obvious that they're growing like crazy, and they just need help with that. So I would have before LPW, I would have actually done this without the PAS, but I thought this really is an opportunity to use it in a way. But I've got 4 hours, and I don't want to do a deep dive and spend 13 days doing it.
Yeah, I got you. You see where Pat went, and great minds think alike. Like exactly where, like, go to if you got 4 hours of them, go to the Jumpstart 40 as opposed to the Jumpstart 12. What revenues approximately? Do you have
they'd be pulling in around 8 mil.
Yep. From where? Like, where were they 2 years ago? When you say 40% over the last 12 months, I mean, is this just a COVID thing, or were they? And I just guess is fine, but what do you think?
Just a guess. I mean, I think they've gone from 6 mil to 8 mil in the last 12 months, probably maybe 4 or 5 mil the year before. So they grew pretty fast. And that's the thing. The challenge with any business growing that fast is to actually manage that. And this is really where things are unraveling at the seams. So They've got a lot of organic growth, so a lot of what we are talking about doing is not necessarily marketing more, although they've got very, very ambitious plans.
Yeah. Okay. So, and what do you think their margins are? Have you spoken to them about that, or like what would they guess at their gross net profit?
Gross margins, I think, around 40%. 40, 50%. Yeah. So it's a healthy business.
Yep. And what do you think their net, if you were to guess?
I have no idea. I haven't seen their financials yet, but I will.
Okay. But again, I would want a bit of a feel for that, because you just know that you can immediately go, like, if they're playing with 10% margins or a little bit less, I mean, this is where you go first over all else. Like, in fact, I wrote an email about this just in the last short period of time, but basically, you want to go to margin before you go to growth all day long. They could be, when you really do their margins, and they're paying commissions and they're paying salespeople, et cetera. Like, whoa, everybody stop. Let's just stare straight at your margins and work out how we can get this, from 40 to 50 gross and 10 to 15 net. And again, that's going to be stuff that they thought about, talked about, but they haven't executed, because everybody wants to just press the gas pedal. So, and again, this is the kind of stuff, this is where I'd be. And when I say starting, I don't know if this is, they probably want something a little sexy in there as well. That's not the most exciting topic in the world. You got to get yourself hired. So, but right where Pat is, I mean, this is where I would go. You just don't forget the left-hand side. Just go to expected revenue increase. And then there's actually 27 areas, not 40 there. Just because
you're breaking up there.
Oh, am I? I'm breaking up.
I could hear you. I could hear you. Yeah.
But the bottom line is, just look at Pat's screen right there in the middle, and you go to those 27 areas, and you see the way he's got 3% everywhere, except looks like there's a 5 in there. Look at the number, $498,000 of profit, and that's a $1 million business, not an $8 million business, right? So if you really think about it, increase longevity. Like how often do these people buy from them? When when you look at that, do they have promotions? Do they have a summer special? Do they got a Christmas special? Do they got the XYZ Garden Expo special? And the answer is no, and no. Remember, we spoke to Frank Kern, and one of the things that he said, the first thing out of his mouth practically, was, we make more offers, so therefore we make more money. And sounds like an off-the-cuff statement, but it's the exact opposite, right? Like he just constantly is offering people to buy things from them, right? These guys aren't. So think of it from a traditional internet marketing standpoint. What I'm explaining is that we talk about product launches, and more so than product launches, just doing things like I just described. Like there's a summer special, there's a winter special, there's the gardening expo special, etc. Like just look at it, on a monthly, quarterly basis. And if they make more specials like that and more offers, they're going to make more money, the end. Anyway, so this is where I'd be going. I'd be going to these 27 areas right here,
So you'd recommend the Jumpstart 40 rather than the 12. I can understand why, because it's got more width. But when you're running with 4 hours, I was a bit concerned that I might not actually be able to go through it. But I don't have to go through it all. I just need to demonstrate. I think one of the things that will need to be done as part of this, and that's probably sitting a little bit outside PASS, is it's about getting the house in order. And by that I mean, there's things around the staffing, there's things around policies, procedures, and things like that that are not working anywhere near as where they should be. So is that in the past? I haven't actually gone down those kind of areas.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you got policies and procedures here. Great questions in the valuation as well, where you look at questions 6 and 7, just asking the questions just brings a lot of value there, because they'll say, so are a large extent of all your systems, process, policies, and procedures in place? No.
Yeah.
Are your marketing and sales processes documented so that sales are predictable? No. Well,
No.
there's like 3 months of work right there, right? So
Yeah.
definitely looking at policies and procedures.
Yeah.
Definitely looking at increased pricing.
Yeah.
Increase prices, because if they're growing so crazy, and you look at, I mean, this is such a great area. If they could increase prices by 3%.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just go back, because let's model this for a $8 million company. Have you worked with a manufacturing company before?
Oh yeah. I've got a lot of experience in coaching. I've been coaching for 18, 19 years. So manufacturing, and I used to be an engineer way back in the old days, and when Noah and Moses were little kids.
All right. Well, I brought that up, and it's probably going to be a great encouragement to then everyone else on the call, because I was asked to do a profit assessment for I think it was like a $6 million manufacturing company a few years ago. I had no experience with manufacturing companies, zero. And I did like a 45-minute meeting in a restaurant with a guy, and he's like, "Oh, I need you right away." So then we did a half-day full assessment, and we found 18 separate areas for them to work on. It was just like, and they're like, we've never had anyone ask questions like this. So that was pretty cool. But increased prices, you look, if you increase prices by 3%, $240,000 of corresponding revenue. And if there were, let's say, 1,000 customers, they could lose 18. How many customers would lose you? So let's say you got 1,000 customers. Is that right? You could lose 18 customers. That's it? It doesn't sound right.
No, it doesn't. No, I think it's higher than that.
I think we'll have to let me submit this and maybe refresh the page, because that doesn't look right at all.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
I think I'm going to have to increase my prices, mate.
Well, yeah, if you can bring him $240,000 right away. All right, might have a slow internet here. 13%. There we go. You could lose 130 customers and still maintain the same net profits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Because if you go to ROI now, and let's say you're coaching, well, maybe you're charging, I don't know what you're charging, but even if you're charging $2,000 a month, and what I've done there is, 3% across every area, which may be impossible or absolutely impossible, but you should get 3% over half the areas. That ROI is still 6,500%. Like that's crazy. So great opportunity to raise your prices.
Yeah.
What are your fees, Nabil? What do you plan to charge? Or did you?
Well, ordinarily I'd be charging, looking at 2.5, but this is probably going to be more like a 3.5, 4K a month. Yeah.
Okay, cool. One of the things, think about scaling it. That's like an absolute superpower of consulting. So like, just let's assume you wanted to get to 2,500, or sorry, to $5,000. Like Pat's got up on the screen, right? 60 grand a year, which obviously be a great client for anybody. So what you do is start it at hypothetically start it at $2,000 a month and go 2, 3, 4, 5, or start it at $2,000 to go 25, $3,000, 35, 4, 4,500, $5,000. So that way you get like a $60,000 client, but you've only got to get a $2,000 commitment. In fact, you could do it 2,000 for the first. So go 2, 2, 2, because at the end of the day, it's about getting the deal done, right? But these guys clearly have more than enough bandwidth to pay you 60 grand plus a year. It's like for the first 3 months, I'm going to lock it in at 2,000 just to get the ball rolling and get this, this concrete foundation up. And then it's going to be 3, 4, 5 over the next 3 months, starting in month 3.
Yeah, no,
So,
I like that. I like that. I think I would offer that if there's a pushback, but if it's acceptable, then I'd start with. I think what I'm saying is this is probably just a downsell or a fallback position.
okay, but hang on. But I don't. Okay, but you just said a minute ago you thought that these guys would be like a $3 to $4 grand client, right?
Yes. So what I'm saying is I'd be asking for whatever I'd be asking for initially, but if they sort of say, "Oh, I'm not really sure about this," I'll say, "Well, let's look at this scenario. Let's start off with this, and then by then you'll see the massive value of the work that we're putting in and what we're achieving, and you'll have no qualms about what the investment is, because it's going to be far outweighed by what the return you're getting."
Okay. Yep. Fair enough. But just it does, but I just don't want to understand the lifetime value. The annualized agreement is just like what Pat has up here at $5 grand is $60 grand a year, because you'll have these guys. If you do a good job, you're going to have them for 3 years, right? At $60 grand a year, that's it's 120 grand. 120 grand over 2 years, 180 grand over 3, right? So, but if you do it if you close them at month 1, 3,500, you just, you know what I mean? Like the difference over 3 years is monumental. So I like the way that you see, because again, so I look, at the end of the day, I just want them to say yes. So by saying 2,000, I insist I'm $5 grand a month all day long, and I'm going to earn it times a million. But I want to create this foundation. And the reality is that we've got some framing up to do initially. I'm only going to, I insist on me only charging you $2 grand a month for the first 3 months, but then it's going to go 3, 4, 5. So I'm 60 grand a year, but I'm going to give you whatever that is, 6 months to get there. Like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
You see, when you kept them for 3 months, the agreement that I just framed up makes tens of thousands of dollars more than getting $3,500 a month from day one.
Yeah, and not to pump up your tires too much, but has anybody ever told you you're a genius?
Pat tells me that all the time. Yeah. No, he doesn't, by the way. He says, "Carl, you're all over the place." No, it's cool. But no, I hope that, I hope, Nabil, I hope you took that, because you're talking 3,500, Pat's talking 500. It's not about month 1, 2, and 3. It's about 12 months and then 3 years.
Yeah.
Bingo, bango, bongo, huge monumental shift from 3,500 to $5 grand a month. But the way that the way that I just showed you, and I just want to, this isn't just for you, Nabil, you got 20 years of experience. For those listening, I got $2 grand a month for 3 months, which is only $6 grand, which is like, pretty lame. But you got a $60,000 a year client by only asking for 2,000 while you're sitting there over the phone. So huge. Anyways,
no, I like that. Just one follow-on question around charges. I've really grappled with contingency and getting a percentage, and it is option. I haven't done it successfully in all the years, probably because I've never offered it really properly, and I just thought on that in terms of that. I mean, you couldn't charge 10% on a business that size or anything like that. That's probably quite laughable.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, correct. And you need to do it on top line revenue, because profit can be manipulated 9 ways to Sunday. So in a big company like this, it's going to be 1-ish%. And but again, it's only going to be above and beyond where we're at, right? But you need to sell that pretty hard, and you might find that a company of that size is not going to be willing to do it. But at 60 grand, a year, and provided you keep pulling your weight and you guys start moving towards the numbers that you're looking at on the screen, they'll keep paying you. So, at an $8 million company, you might struggle to get a contingency. and they're growing, and they just had 40% growth. But the good news is that what you're going to do is charge them $60,000 a year, and you're going to make sure, instead of going and talking, sexy delusional top line numbers and, talking about getting to 10 million, what you're going to talk is taking their profit margins from 8 to 18%, which that's because most companies are trying to get big so that they can get rich, and that's not the way it works, right? It's, you want to get rich while you're getting big, and they reverse the order, and it normally doesn't end well. So they probably, if you rewind, like go back, 3 years, you probably find that they have X margin, like let's just call it 18% net. And now that they've grown and had this 40% blow up, but you look at their margins, and now they've got 8% margins, but they've never taken the time to sit down and work that out. Huge mistake. That's why you don't get rich by getting big. You get big while getting rich. So sounds like just a play on words, but it's totally different roadmap.
I get that, and this is really where things like looking at their cost cutting and looking at the way they're doing things is going to be a key part of this. And I'm glad that Pat just shared the areas around policies, procedures, and that. I'll just have to go in and refamiliarize myself on those areas, because I want to be fairly laser beam focused in terms of those areas, so that we can walk out of there with the implementation plan being pretty close to what they need to do initially, without doing a whole bunch of marketing. Because it's the sexy stuff, the marketing, but it's not what gets the money.
100%. And you see, the other people are what you just said. The other folks they've spoken to are not.
Oh, heck yeah, I know that.
That's where you're going to be singing a different song. And that's how you get the deal done. And for not just you, Nabil, but everybody listening. So you often hear me talking about selling against, or, standing against. It's like when you're sitting with these guys, you want to say that. Go, look, I want to know, what were your like a really good question, guys. I want to send you away, and I want you to work out what your net margins were 3 years ago, and with this 40% growth, what they are now. And I would dare say that there's a chance that you're now making an extra X $3 million a year, but you're actually netting less money. You didn't realize that. Let's not make that mistake. We don't. Again, do we want to get big, or do we want to get rich? Getting big is for ego. Getting rich is about understanding your financial statements and your margins.
Yeah.
So, I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, I'm really excited because they've got their accountant in on the meeting as well, which is really great, and he's very much on board with me coming on board, because I've got another prospect who I pitched to, and he's very small, and he said, "Oh, I've got to run this past my accountant." And I said, "What for?" But he was absolutely adamant that he needed to run past his accountant, the silly fool. But hey, that's where it is. I'm sorry. But go on.
Yeah, Nabil, have a look at this here. Let's say you can't close them at $5,000 a month, but you could, and you come away with a $3,500. Okay, $3,500 a month. So we save that. But then you say, okay, well, if I reduce my fees up front, then I need to increase revenue. And if you only start at 2.5%, for example, you see right now let me put this initial investment back to zero, and you see that $3,500 is $42,000 a year, but 2.5% of increased revenue in this scenario. As you click on that contingency, that's an additional $83,000. So we got 42, we got 83. So if you can get 1% of the increase of revenue, you absolutely want that.
Yeah. I do want it, but I think, without getting too much off on a detour, the additional revenue contingency is very hard to actually lock down and make sure that it actually gets paid, is the experience that I've had from speaking to people that have done that. And I guess I'd be interested in your feedback there.
Well, I would set it up from the start and say, look, this is how it works basically. I'd take 2.5% of the increased revenue. And frankly, I don't want to come in and look at your books, but I will reserve the right for my accountant to meet with your accountant once a year or once a quarter to have a look at what's going on. Is that fair? And if you just ask it like that, a smile on your face, they can't say no. I mean, they would be idiots to say no, and they'd be dishonest to say no. But then you don't get involved. Like your accountant's the bad boy, and he goes over and he talks to their accountant. But you've got a legal agreement signed. I mean, it's legal. They have to pay you. So
okay. And the contingency is for the duration of us working together, or is it? Do you have a period after that, or how?
It always has a time. Like you normally do it on an annual basis, right? But once your coaching agreement stops with them, and this is where again you gotta, when you're doing a contingency and it's working out really well, it creates a little bit of gray matter, quite frankly, between your relationship, because now they're paying out, significantly, and now they're trying to come up with ways to no longer work with you. If you want to know that, you can see how this is a little bit of an X factor. So you really do need to manage that one. But basically, it's while you're working with them and you want a 12-month agreement, you've got that in place, right? And then it's, are we going to continue? You continue, and as long as you're working with them, you continue to get the contingency. And then they let you go, and then you feel slighted because your contingency fees are really adding up, and now it was too much. So guess what? They're going to get rid of, you know what I mean? They show you the door, bring in another consultant because it worked really well, and say, well, because we just can't. You become too expensive, right? So it kind of creates this weird dynamic.
And that's what I'm trying to avoid.
By the way, I'm sorry, Nabil, but understand this is an $8 million company. Again, when you're helping the chiropractor and he's getting to $1 million, it's no big deal. It's an extra 15 grand. You earned it. He pays it. You continue on, but it's a bit of a funky one when you get to big numbers like this.
No, that's good. And in terms of preparing for our meeting, I traditionally ask for, them giving me a bit of the prep work would be for them to send me things like, any business planning documents or their thoughts on things, and having a look at their financials. And I wouldn't have any issue with that because they'd be open with it, because we've had a past relationship. Is there anything you could recommend in terms of getting prepped for that meeting so that it flows smoother?
For the initial, for the Jumpstart 40 here?
Yeah.
Just look, if you got the financials, the good news is, I got to tell you again, it's going to flow. If you just follow the questions, I would have a bit of an idea before you go in there. Have a look at the 27 areas and decide beforehand the runs that you expect to go to. That being said, be nimble. Depends. If something comes up, like they feel like joint ventures is an area that they really, they've got a partnership with, Bunnings or something along those lines, and they feel like they could get in. This is a place that I would go. But just get the financials and have faith that if you follow the process and the Q and the questions that are literally right there in front of them, or in front of you, the whole meeting is going to flow very well, because they're going to be like, wow, we didn't think of that. We didn't think of that. We didn't think of that. You're going to put in 3%, 3%, 3%. The numbers are going to compound, and they're going to be like, this is something we should probably do.
How much if just in terms of the actual meeting, would I need to branch out of a little bit or a lot into teaching? And I don't want to do that, but in terms of like the contents of the 100K information is very valuable. So when I'm explaining things, around, for example, market bounding position, and the conversation that's going on in your prospect's mind, all of the kind of stuff. I don't want to be deflecting too much on that. I can actually do that as a later thing, but it's part of that sell, if you like.
I don't think you have time.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't quite
Nabil. Well, there's an automatic, like when you say joint ventures, you're going to see a lot of gloss. Like the account, you know what I mean? These guys aren't familiar with this, right? So I feel like there's a canned example. Like if I go market dominating position, I would go, let me give you an example, right? Like again, you've heard of unique selling proposition. Market dominating position is similar, but about 100 times as powerful. Let me give you an example. Basically, it solves a problem. So you own a daycare. They assume that price and location is the primary factor in the decision-making process. The reality is that accountability of little Johnny is the deciding factor. So when we determined that, and we did it in about 15, but 9 of 10 daycares got it wrong, but we did 15 minutes of work and fleshed out the real problem. Well, we introduced a web watch, and the web watch solves the major problem of mom. So therefore, that is a market dominating position, right? So I give an example, and then I say, what's yours? They say, we don't have one. And then you move on to the next question, right?
I like the way you're treating that, because I do not want to go out into branching out into a separate PowerPoint. You know, this is going to be something that's smooth and flows. Love it.
So if you really think about it, go to the 27. Well, go to the 12 areas initially, and then go to the 27 areas, and just in your head, kind of have like a bit of a canned example. And when you give a canned example, again, stand against, like the way that I said, you've probably heard of a unique selling proposition. Market dominated position, the way we teach it, is similar, but it's about 100 times as powerful, and you probably never heard of it. And they're like, what? You see the way I just kind of organically stood against unique selling proposition and the marketing school down the road? No,
I love it. Love it. So, this is good. You give me so much. I'm going to have a meeting with them. It's early morning here, but today I'll be having a meeting with them in terms of getting across the line so that everything is signed, sealed, and delivered for next Friday. So this has been very, very valuable and very timely. Thanks, guys.
Cool. No problem, Nabil. And maybe, sorry, Pat, go ahead. Did I interrupt you?
I was going to add something. While you were talking, I was just kind of working in the background, and I went through all the software here, and I added some examples. So under market dominating position, you can see some examples. And then under strategy, let me give you an example. Under trust expertise, here's an example. And under policies and procedures, here's an example. So there's just examples all the way through. You're just examples. So just trust the process here, and I would say you got 3 hours. You got a little warm-up time. You'll probably take at least you got 4 hours. So a little warm-up time. You've got at least 2 hours of finding questions. You're going to need time at the end to say, hey, we found all this. We found all these breakthroughs. Let's look at some priorities here. Maybe you're going to go and put some numbers in here. It could be 6-8 weeks, whatever your experience shows. And then you click save, and then you go to your implementation calendar, and you say, there it is, guys. Here's our path moving forward. So that's your fine. Like you just can't hammer them at questions for 4 hours because they'll be exhausted. One other thing I want to caution you on is if their marketing director or sales director, especially the marketing director, is in the room. If you start hammering them with all these great questions, that marketing guy is going to look like an idiot, and the CEO is going to look at the marketing guy saying, why aren't you doing that and all that? So from the very beginning, just talk about how marketing and business growth is this infinite field. And obviously, Mr. Marketing here in the room is a genius because you're growing. But let me show you some other things that you could be doing. So get them on your side right away for sure.
No, I think you don't want to be pissing off, excuse the French, anybody in the room, because that's the sure way to exiting the engagement.
Here you go, Nabil. High five, buddy. Good luck. And I just, in closing, make sure to get, not for just your benefit, Nabil, but everybody listening, like when you go into that meeting, just, like, what do they say? Like if two people sit down and they have rapport, The person with the most certainty will influence the other one, right? So just go in there like the smartest thing they could ever do is pay you your $5,000 a month, 60 grand a year on, for the next 3 years. So just go in there that, you know what I mean? Like really go in there with a firm attitude that we're getting this deal done. It's just a matter of how we get her done.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, that's good. The psychology is critical.
Yeah.
Thanks,
awesome. Okay,
guys.
Nabil. High five, man. We appreciate you, buddy. Good luck.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
All right, there we go. And hang on, Maria's been waiting patiently. Maria, you're self-muted, my love. Easy question with an easy answer. You got to unmute yourself. Maria Martinez. There she is. Maria, you're live.
Hi. So I just had more of a question for like moving on beyond this point where you now have the client and like best practices on implementation, keeping them accountable, making sure they're getting the results that they desire.
Yep. Have a look at Pat's screen. Yeah, let me just show you. Can I just show you, Maria, quick? Number one, make sure you watch the 52 weeks on your curriculum, on your e-learning system, your membership site. The 52 weeks, honestly, it's needle moving for the most seasoned business person. But Pat, could you just click the icon there beside whatever you'd like, cutting costs or market, whatever. There we go. Have a look at this, Maria. So this is what we were just showing Eric earlier. The answer's at the back, and there you go. So I say, Pat, how would you create a market dominating position? He would go here and say, Carl, this is the exact process that I would follow, and I would say the same. So there you go. And then on the left-hand side, you see where, again, actions they need to complete, biggest wins of the past week, biggest challenges, and then you just add another where relevant. And then there's some notes along the bottom. This is where you're, holding them accountable and kicking them in the pants and tracking all that's happening with your coaching relationship. That help?
Yes. Where else, what other resources are available? Let's say that you're helping them create their plan, like their marketing plan. Where else can we find some of those resources on other plans that have been created, if there's any? Some ideas.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. Okay, I just, like Maria, marketing plan is a real high level platitudinal, like it doesn't, what is a marketing plan? If you look at like part of a marketing plan would be creating a market dominating position. So rather than think marketing plan, I would think, how are we going to separate this company from the competition in a problem solution kind of way? And then once we establish that, like what kind of compelling offer would work really well? Like what we do is we find any business owner $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. So that's a really compelling offer. If we take that to a business owner, they say, yes, please. If I go to an accountant and try form a joint venture, and then I say that I'm going to offer that to anybody that they refer to me up front and for free, it's a needle mover in terms of getting the deal done. So you're looking at what we suggest right here on the left-hand side.
Okay, got it.
Does that make sense? Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, Maria. Thanks, buddy. All right, there we go. So, Pat, anything you'd add there for Maria? Basically, she got clients and she's like, I want to fulfill on them. Is there any other direction you'd give her that I missed?
I mean, some clients are just thinking that they want a marketing plan, and the marketing plan is just staring at you in the face here in terms of all the way from what action, what's the main action you're going to take, what are all the little steps that you're going to take, how long is it going to take, so this is your entire plan right here. So it's a great way to think of it. And it's very, very comprehensive. Of course, it's general in a sense of we've got referral systems, and you have to have some wisdom as you help implement that. But like Carl said, in the 52-week series, I just finished working on 3 lessons this week. One was there's a passive referral system, there's a proactive referral system, and there's a Well, I'm in the Neighborhood referral program. So we got 3 trainings on referral systems with step by step. Here's what you do first. Here's what you do second. So there's all kinds of training to back everything up. So I would say if you can get to here, and let's say you're working through this, the week before you start working on referral systems, I'd go watch those videos in the 52-week series, and you can take notes on those videos and basically say, okay, here's the implementation steps in the implementation calendar, and here's what I want to do from the videos, the lessons there, and you can put together a whole game plan knowing that you've got, in this example, 4 weeks to give them results. And, or maybe, if you're consulting, or you're going to give them the game plan and they've got 4 weeks to move the needle there. So I think there's plenty of resources all the way through. But yeah, you have to work with a little bit, obviously, but they're all here. They're all here for you.
There we go. Agreed. There we go. All right, folks. Well, sorry, Eric, I'm just reading your question. Welcome, Maria. No worries. He's asking, is there any downside to showing the back end just sorry, you know what, Pat, Eric, I want to understand your question. Could you ask that, bud, so I understand?
Yeah, so you're working with the client, you're looking at this manual that we have for the coaches. What's the downside of just popping that up on the screen? Because sometimes they're just like, they're not going to go watch the video, but here it is. Here's the information. Here are the steps. How would that go off? I mean, would you do that or would you not do that?
What are you talking about? The answers at the back? No, can you click the icon there, please?
Yeah, go there and then.
You mean here? You mean showing them this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't show them. I would not. I mean, I don't mind them knowing that I've got a little bit of a roadmap, but part of why they hire me is my genius. So I don't want them it's like the doctor, the doctor comes in and he checks your throat and you stick out your tongue and you go, he leaves. You know where he goes? He goes to his computer, he goes to his textbook and goes, oh, you've got this weird thing called XYZ, and comes back. If he was sitting in front of you and he opened up his textbook and, was thumbing through, it would lose all the power. You know what I mean? So no, I don't want them to see this.
Yeah. So, so if you're going on the other side of this, where you're going to the, what's it called? So you click on the other icon, go back.
Yeah, go back, Pat, to, the icon. Yeah, there you go.
Now click on the icon.
Yeah.
And here, I'm, what we worked on last week, they're not seeing that.
You just pause your screen. Yeah. Again, they can see that you're just pausing your screen now, right? Like this would up and I'd be popping. Look, Eric, are you going to be opening A, B, C, D while you're speaking to them? The idea is that you got a little, like prior to the meeting, you've got a bit of a sense as to what A, B, C, D, and E is.
Oh, yeah.
If I needed to reference it, I'd be pressing pause. I wouldn't, again, the same way that the doctor doesn't want you to see them thumbing through the textbook or searching the computer for the answer. It's a little bit the same, where part of the genius is, part of the magic is your genius, that you come up with these answers and they go, where the hell did you come up with that? This is where we come up with it. I don't want them to know where I come up with it. So that's my answer.
So my suggestion then down the road, I know you got lots of projects, would be a way to hide the right-hand side of this screen and be able to put up there, what they need to complete, their biggest wins, so you can connect them to those things.
But the reason we've got it there is that if you are a less experienced coach, you've got it. Because the guy goes, how do I test my results, right? Then you open up J and it's kind of there. But I would, to be clear, I would pause my screen at this stage.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying I want to show that. I'm saying I just want to show the left-hand side where I'm actually typing in what they're doing, how they're doing.
Yeah.
See the weekly revenue, the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I got you.
So that'd be
Pat.
nice.
Pat? What would you say to that? What would you say to Eric there?
Well, I think he's got a good point. Hiding it, Generally, if I'm working with a client, I would just be hiding my screen, and I'll just be typing and asking questions, things like that.
That's
I
what I
wouldn't be
did.
showing this.
Okay, so you'd have it on, but you'd have it on. So where would you have it, Pat? Scroll up. I'd imagine you'd have it on. What would I be staring at? Summary or nothing?
I'd be staring at something like this.
Yep.
Or if we're talking about that week, if we're talking about market dominating position, you could have the results there. And I mean, I don't know, it's maybe a bit cheesy to do that, but certainly the summary screen is fine. Or you know what, you maybe just lower that and just show your face and have a conversation with them. They don't need to see anything if you're online. If you're across the room from them, you can just be across the desk and just be talking and say, hey, look, I'm just taking some notes here and in my laptop, and they don't have to see anything.
But you go to that implementation and click on that icon again. That left-hand side would be a valuable thing to have on the board as I'm talking, because I've met with clients face to face, and you were writing on the board. Here's what we're going to talk about. Here's the agenda. Here's your reporting, and then boom, we're going to talk about the next action steps they're going to take. And I don't want to necessarily show them how I delivered the information for them to decide what the action steps are, but I want to send those action steps to them too. So
the problem then, you're working on two screens, because if you're in a room with a client or you're doing that, you've got to still be opening up these to figure out what's next. Or that, let's say, hey, in this week, I'm working on determining best practices. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy that and put it in a Google Doc. Yeah. And then I'm going to work on this one. I put that in a Google Doc, and I just leave this closed during the week, and as I'm talking. So,
yeah. And then if I want to share a screen, I just don't share that tab with them. You know how you can set it up to you just share what you want them to see.
Oh, I see.
And you could be looking at the other one on your split screen or your double screen or whatever you have.
Oh, you could be, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's workarounds. If you could just hide the whole right-hand side, well, you could just use these other things as your bullet points for the meeting.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But Eric, when we were doing it, though, that's one of the things that I was like, I wanted the answers at the back of the book to be following me around. So if I needed to reference my textbook, quote unquote, like the doctor, it was beautiful. There.
It's beautiful.
That was the logic, right? To be clear. So.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm just.
Yeah. No, that's okay. No, we're again, it's a working. This is a blank piece of paper. You know what I mean? So we're working on this, man.
It's great. No, I'm not complaining.
No, I know. No. We're trying to make it better, buddy. We love it. Here you go. Anyways, things to think about. Pat, does that help you? What do you think of that, bud?
Well, I got some notes. I think it's something that we can review with William and add it to the 423 other things we're going to make in software. So.
And guys, if you think he's joking, if you saw the spreadsheets, like, is there like you ever had a spreadsheet where you ran out of room? I think that's the spreadsheet might say, "Oh, is this something Uncle is going to pop up one day?" It's like, forget it, go somewhere else. I can't take any more things to do on my spreadsheet. Anyway, all right, Eric, we love you, man. We appreciate you here, buddy. You're magic. Put you back on mute. All right, there we go. Well, can you, Pat? We appreciate you, buddy, and you're genius. We got a bunch of thank yous. So to all you guys saying thank you, of course, no problems. We appreciate you guys. And for those of you showing up, again, showing up with some great questions and using the software, etc. That's what make these calls go around. So thanks for playing full out, and please do so. And what is it? It's Thursday today. So we will see you next Tuesday. So be there or be square.